So I'm very excited to welcome Kelly Gagnon. She's a 34-year-old serial entrepreneur, optimist on the path to slow fire with the goal of retiring by 45 years old. Through strategies such as house hacking, travel hacking, and life hacking, Kelly is increasing income, reducing expenses, and diversifying income to design the life she chooses today. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
It's so great having you here. So first of all, I want to start off with on your website, which I'll show up here, you've got this great claim here that you're life hacking your way to financial independence in heels.
Yes.
I love the whole juxtaposition of that, the life hacking, the financial independence, and the heels, which doesn't seem to go together. So many of the people who are into financial independence are into living so incredibly bare bones. And I kind of like that whole idea of, you know what, I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to live it up during this whole journey.
Yes. And I think there's, a certain idea. And if you're in the financial independence space, there's a certain idea, especially for women, especially for single women, of what someone looks like or wears or acts like. And I think for me initially, that's what kind of made me hesitant to own the goal, right? It's why I'm not that kind of person. I wear heels every day and I have probably still like 10 A-line black dresses. That's not what people that are trying to be financially independent do or wear.
But you seem to have made the whole thing work together somehow.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
So one way that I love that you're going about it is setting personal challenges for yourself. Can you tell us a bit about first the concept of these personal challenges and then what challenge you're in the midst of right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people set abstract goals. And it's very difficult to start acting. And for me, I'm house hacking, operating Airbnb, I own a business, I'm launching another business, and I'm trying to do a lot of things. And sometimes all those goals can become overwhelming. So I like to create personal challenges. In April of 2020, I started a personal challenge of I'm going to create $3,000 new in my budget in 1 month. And I have a fairly minimal budget, around $4,000 a month, including financial investments. And I'm like, I'm going to create, I'm going to like almost double what that cash flow looks like in 1 month. And I did it through side hustles and then reducing expenses that were primarily ongoing expenses. So that will play out over time. Currently, I am doing a 15-day, $150 a day side hustle challenge while still working. I'm on today's day 3, so wish me luck.
How have you done so far? Have you hit that $150 a day so far?
It's been interesting. I have, but I got in a car accident going to do a DoorDash. True story.
Right.
So I did combine 2 days and say this is $300 over the 2 days because that does put a damper on life.
So what are these side hustles you've been doing in order to create $150 a day?
Yeah. So as I said, I operated an Airbnb and I'm not counting that. My primary ones are Instacart, DoorDash, and then I'm doing respondent surveys, which is online market research. I can talk about it a little bit on my website if you want to check it out. But those are the primary things I'm doing. I'm making anywhere from $150 an hour to $19 an hour. I haven't made less than that so far on DoorDash and Instacart. And then I'm also cheating a little and paying myself for administrative work from my business that I would usually give to someone else. So I'm like, I can organize files. Sure.
Awesome. So talk to me about some of these life hacks that you love to do to live, I guess, frugally, to stretch your dollars. What are all these different hacks you have?
Yeah. So I have been pretty much nomadic around the Midwest for the last year. In March of 2020, I hit my location independence, but I've been in the same place for longer than I ever have in my adult life, I think. But I do house hacking, which has been wonderful. I do live mortgage free by renting out my place on Airbnb. I travel hack quite a bit. And right now I'm just kind of floating that up. And I'm getting ready to look at how house hacking multiple properties through Airbnb so I can jump and live at different places at different times is my plan.
Wow, awesome. So what are some techniques that you would advise somebody, they're just starting off, they want to be on this path to financial independence, they're trying to figure out how they can reduce their expenses. What are some tips that you'd give them?
The first tip that everyone gives, which I think is the best tip, is start by tracking your expenses. Before you can even set financial goals, you really need to know, where's my money going? How am I spending it? And then, over 1 month to 3 months, and before you even start to make big goals about making more income, decide, how I'm currently spending my money, does that align with what I think my life goals are, what my life mission is? And if it doesn't, now, those are the budget lines you need to change first. So I think that's a great first place to start before you even talk about what's your big 5-year, 10-year goal, is make sure you know where your money's going.
When you first tracked your expenses, did you find any surprises in there?
Oh, I think my biggest, most embarrassing one, and you're probably going to cringe. If people with financial independence say cringe. I'm a very social person. I'm a single woman. I travel a lot. My food, which is groceries, going out, coffee, alcohol, was probably around $1,000 a month for one person. So my goal for this month is $375. Every time I'm intentional about how I spend it, it brings me more joy. I think I'm more intentional about eating too, because I'm watching my money as it relates to that. But that was the most shocking. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. It should just go away.
Yeah, I'm not going to cringe on that because we happen to be crazy organic eaters. And so we don't go out. We don't have this huge food budget. We're total vegans, but we have virtually everything organic, and our food bill is probably our number one expense, probably greater than housing, greater than anything else, greater than taxes, greater than transportation is almost nothing, but our food bill is astronomical. So I can totally relate to that one.
Yeah. That was the most shocking. And then just one of the things that I'm like, well, this is something I value, but I'm not spending a lot of money on it, is exercise. So, it's something I think I value. And I do hot yoga and a lot of running. I was spending around $40 or $60 a month, which is a lot. But I'm like, this is something I really value. And while traveling, although I do a lot of finding the free option, sometimes you just want to go to a hot yoga class and pay the $15. So that was also kind of shocking.
I've actually had that realization recently, that there are sometimes when budgeting that I have to force myself to spend more on a category that I really value, that I can be so anal about trying to cut expenses that there are things that I really value that I don't actually put enough energy or put enough money into, and that sometimes increasing my budget line item and saying, you know what, Dave, I want you to spend 100% of this budget. You're increasing the amount and I want you to actually use it, is actually one of the best ways to get myself to improve my quality of life.
Right. And I'm big on money mindset. And for me, the budget line I added in was joy, things that spark joy. I try to approach life that way, but I added, it fluctuates between $40 a month and $60 a month. These flowers are part of it. $7 and it brings me so much joy. And I noticed that I started to feel, on my path to financial independence, I started to feel guilty about unnecessary spending. And that's kind of my buffer, is no, I'm supposed to do this. It helps me create a balanced life.
So it seems like you put a lot of energy on personal missions and that going together with budgets.
Yeah. We talked a little bit before about frugality, and I'm like, ooh, I hate that word. I hate the word frugal. And, it's very restrictive, and I don't want to be too philosophical about things. But it's very difficult to stick to anything if you don't have a solid why you're doing it. This abstract idea of freedom, 15 years in the future, it's very difficult to act daily in alignment with that. So I do try to connect my why for actions daily in life.
Awesome. So what are some other fun hacks that you can introduce people to?
Oh, it's a little interesting because I was travel hacking and traveling all the time. And what that hack looks like is very different than in one place hacking. But for me, I do a lot of, like I said, I did the $3,000 a day challenge and, $3,000 a month challenge.
Right.
And I don't have a lot of specific hacks. Sorry. I don't have a lot of specific hacks, but the biggest thing is if you want something, you can afford it, figure it out. Um, right now I'm doing rover sitting. I guess it's another side hustle, but that's something that brings me joy. I already have one dog. But as soon as people feel like they have to do something, they don't want to do it anymore. So I like to make them, hacks or games as much as possible, whether it be side hustles or personal challenges.
All right, awesome. I saw you talked about cash envelopes. Can you describe what those are and why you recommend those?
Sure. When I started my financial independence journey like a year and a half ago, I didn't have a credit card. The only credit card I had was $1,000 credit card I opened up with my parents when I was like 17. So I'd never dabbled in that. And I was operating a business with subcontractors. So there's a lot of cash flow going through on a monthly basis. Then I learned about travel hacking. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I could, and I'm not now, but at the beginning, I was kind of an aggressive travel hacker. And I was paying all my people on my cards, paying them off each month. And I could go through like 2 or 3 minimum spends to get the sign-on bonuses of cards every single month, like realistically with my cash flow. I'm not doing that now. I got real aggressive and it did hurt my credit score a little bit. But I think those are great for people that are operating businesses. I have a lot of hacks related to business operations. But one of the things I noticed about, I'll get back to cash envelopes. Now I'm back. Okay. But I was doing that. And then as I was looking at how am I spending my money and is it aligning, I, like most people, I wasn't doing a lot in the debt freedom journey, do cash envelopes. And I found that for me, having an envelope, and I created branded ones with my little Bitmoji on them and, spark joy every time I open them up. And it helped me spend the money I should on joy every day or every month and really reduce by putting, this is my $375 that I have for food for the month. It really helped me reduce my food budget and be more intentional when I was taking it out. And I would every night balance my budget.
Okay, awesome. So you mentioned travel hacking. So could you just define that for anybody who's not familiar and then talk about exactly how you did it?
Yeah, there are a lot more people on the internet that are a lot wiser than I am about it. But travel hacking is really, generating credit card points to use for free travel. In 2019, I had 49 days of 100% free hotel nights by travel hacking. Wow. And that's just, you're getting sign-on bonuses for new credit cards. And then using those points. So a lot of credit cards will have, open up this business card, get 100,000 airline points, and then that's free. So I would get the cards, pay them off. I right now am sticking to basic Chase cards because I'm positioning to purchase an Airstream. So travel hacking is amazing. It creates freedom. For me, I was, in a long-term relationship where we traveled a lot. And I wanted that same freedom that I created myself, and travel hacking for me was the way to create it.
Okay, awesome. You said you had more business hacks that you could share. What are some of these other ones?
Play the tax game. So many people that don't really track expenses correctly. Play the tax game. Use subcontractors as much as possible. Fiverr and Upwork are things for a reason. Use them. And it's very easy. Anyone can create a business and just be the intermediary. And I highly recommend, no matter what service you're in, especially if you're a freelancer or one-stop shop, to stop thinking of yourself that way and think about yourself as a business. And then how can you provide the service and capitalize on some of that?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, you mentioned Fiverr and Upwork. One that I like to use quite a bit is Freelancer. I don't like Freelancer relative to Upwork. I much prefer Upwork over Freelancer for getting hiring contractors. But Freelancer has one thing that Upwork doesn't, which is the ability to do contests. And freelancer.com, I love doing contests for that. If I need a new logo or I need a new animation, I need something done there. It's really good for graphic stuff. I can just put up a contest, say, okay, I'm going to pay $50 for the one I like the most. And then I get a whole bunch of people submitting things, and I get to actually look at the different submissions and choose the one I like the best.
Dave, you sold me. I'm going to go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, for hiring freelancers, it's nowhere near as good as Upwork. But for running contests, you can't do that on Upwork. And that's a really great site for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, it breaks my heart related to, you asked what hacks do I have for business. One of the biggest things that breaks my heart that isn't a hack is people provide a service but never get directly in front of their target audience. And it breaks my heart. So the more you can partner, I mean, for us, we do a lot of partnerships and trainings through other places. And that's how we find our clients. But if people are just throwing up a website like, please come to me, it's not quite a hack, but like partner with an organization that has your target audience in front of them, and then do whatever you can for free to get in front of them.
All right, awesome. We talked a bit more talking about, I know you didn't like the word frugality, but low cost living, ways of saving money. So what are some of your other tips on how to be saving a lot of money?
I don't spend money unless you need to. I mean, I have very few subscriptions. The majority are related to my business. If you do have subscriptions that you're justifying on lifestyle, really decide, is that whatever you're spending money on, like cable, Netflix, does that align with like where you want to be in 5 years? And if it doesn't, maybe it's a good idea, not just financially, but for your humanity, to cut that out. For me, I think, just making sure that what you spend money on aligns. I did Project 333. Have you heard of that before?
No, what is that?
It's minimalist capsule wardrobe challenge, where you wear 33 items of clothes. And you're probably like, no, I do that already. But I've gone from a large walk-in closet to a small walk-in closet to one closet of clothes I wear. They all fit on a carry-on suitcase. And that's been a big change for me over the last 9 months. And it's been a very freeing change. And I like my clothes more. But Project 333, you're wearing 33 items only for 3 months and tracking, like, how do you use it? And you're supposed to value your clothes more. But that's kind of a fun hack that also for people, and I'm going to say also for women that have lots of clothes and abundance and maybe excess, it helps you kind of value the clothes you have, and then it's an easier way to finally get rid of the ones you don't need.
I think I need to go do some major shopping before I could wear 33 items over 3 months.
I was going to say, you're going to cringe when I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing how often I wear the same things. I think we won't talk about that. But
okay. It'll be a different personal challenge for you, Dave. You'll have to get 33 items.
I love this idea of the personal challenges. Okay, can you give me some more? What are some other personal challenges you've done or you're anticipating doing in the future?
Yeah, I do a lot related to food and the ketogenic diet. Sometimes I do the AIP diet, but relating that to money. So, on $10 a day, can I do a high value keto diet? And then tracking it. Side hustle challenges are good. I think if you can make how you're approaching your monthly budgeting less restrictive or focused on frugality and more of a game, then money becomes fun. But my biggest thing, I love to create different trackers. I'm always sharing them on Instagram of like, this is what I'm using to track. And like, when the tracking system brings you joy, you're more likely to actually use it, and then probably more likely to actually follow through.
All right, fantastic. So if people want to learn more about you and all of your techniques about how you can be life hacking and travel hacking and house hacking their way, whether they're in heels or they're not in heels, where can they go and find you?
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram at F the Joneses, and that's EFF the Joneses. And then you can also find me at fthejoneses.com.
I love the F the Joneses title. I think that's one of the things that first drew me to you. It's
honest.
It's honest. It's not subtle. And I think that's what I like about your whole brand. You're not going for subtlety. You're not going to just grind it out type thing, which you hear a lot in the financial independence world. You're going for, everything's about bright colors and very direct, and let's challenge ourselves this way, and let's see if we can hack this thing over there. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of this wisdom.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.